Hi, so we had a client come to us with a planning problem that they were told that their project wouldn't work. They had some pre-app advice from the local authority that said they couldn't build two houses where they wanted to build them. This is what they went into pre-app with someone else before they spoke to us. And you can see that we just have a site plan and no idea of any context or why that project proposal is why it is. And that is not what we want to be doing when we're looking at a pre-app. So we don't want to do. What we want to do is look at how we approach the design and give the local authority some confidence that we've thought about the context and the situation and are designing appropriately for the site. Usefully, because the client had pre-app advice, we had some feedback from the local authority that said a number of things, and we set out to address each of these issues. What we didn't try and do is address everything at once. So the local authority came back with concerns over building lines, so how the buildings related to other existing buildings on the site. They came back with concerns over protected trees. They came back with concerns over views from outside the village towards this building. They came to us with concerns over boundary treatments and the design of the building itself and how that is expressed on the site. The important thing for us to do was to work through these sequentially and agree the approach with the local authority for each step. So the first piece of work we did was looking at the site and understanding some building lines relating to existing buildings and how we sit two dwellings in that existing context. We're not at this point talking about how tall the dwellings are, what they're made out of, what they look like. All we're talking about the things that we want to address. So we're interested in the views out to the countryside, but also the views into the site from the countryside. And we had a meeting with the local authority and we went through these positioning criteria, and the local authority were able to agree with us this first step of the process, that they were comfortable with the location and the size of the footprint of these buildings. And then finally, in terms of pre-app, we then went through a process of talking to the local authority. So we agreed that siting, we agreed the scale in footprint, and then we wanted to agree the scale of massing. We still aren't talking about design here. We're not talking about ideas of taste. So we have an existing building on the site, and then we looked at something which had a similar ridge height, and that's what that would look like from the open countryside. How we might break that form down into some smaller roof forms, and then recess those secondary roof forms behind the primary roof forms. And again, we agreed this with the local authority, but we still haven't talked to them about materials. We still haven't talked to them about windows. We haven't got to that level of detail, but we're now comfortable because they've now agreed that with this approach that we can complete the design for our clients and deliver the homes that they want on this site. Following this pre-app process, we were then able to complete the design of the building and put in those layers of detail about materiality, fenestration, landscaping, all of those things. And we were able to get the client's planning approval for two dwellings that were a little bit larger than the dwellings they had poor pre-app response on this site. And now the clients have built these properties and they're going to move into one of them and sell the other. So they've got an amazing result out of this work. So yeah, if you want to turn a bad bit of planning feedback, either a refusal or some poor pre-app, into a positive result, why not give us a call?